Hello everyone! Recently, the Brackeys game jam took place, and this theme was Nothing Can Go Wrong. As you guessed from the title, for us, almost everything went wrong. But wait, first of all, you may not know what a game jam is. Well, a game jam is an event where participants make a game within a usually short time span, most commonly ranging from 24 to 72 hours, and the game also needs to fit a theme that is announced at the start of the jam. Anyway, this year we decided to participate ourselves in the 2025th edition of the Brackeys Game Jam. Now, where to start? First thing on the list is that I should introduce myself. My name is Edward. This is my dev nickname, and I am the team programmer. Now, buckle up and get ready to witness the story of a, how to put it, flop. Yeah, and you may go like, you guys participated in a game jam, so where game? About that, we do not have the full game yet. Now, hear me out, trust me, we are working on it. The main thing is that the week that the game jam was held in had reserved for me quite some challenges that I was not ready for. Everything began on a Sunday. We gathered at the start of the jam, just after the theme was announced, to brainstorm some ideas. And everything went so smooth that we had a good idea only Tuesday, a third into the jam. Now, I do not blame anyone for this, the theme was kinda hard for us, but at least we got an idea in the end. Better late than never moment. Anyway, now that we had an idea, we started working on the game. And of course the development went very slow, as at the moment I was in no mood for developing, but I had no choice, and the quest. By Wednesday evening, I got into working mood, but I was not prepared for what Thursday was about to bring. To put it simply, long story short, I got sick. And for the whole day and half of Friday, I was basically idling cause brain was not braining. When I recovered, I got back to developing. And by Saturday night, with the deadline being Sunday noon, I realized we under-delivered so much that there was no point of uploading the project. Like, it wasn't even a game at that point, it was still a project. But we didn't wanna give up. Yeah, we failed the jam. So what? We are going to make this game anyway. We just gotta lock in. Let's talk about what we actually did. Well, the idea of the game in a nutshell, without spoiling anything, is that you're in a very goofy town doing even goofier things to other goofy characters. Did I say the game is very goofy? I mean, just take a look at this peculiar cars. For my part, as the programmer, I laid down most of the basic mechanics like walking, jumping, triggering animations, throwing things, NPC nav mesh, and lots of other things that aren't properly implemented because I went back and forth with them as my brain power was at its lowest as we were changing directions constantly. For now, this is mostly what you'll get from me. More in the future, when I can show you more than bare bones and backend. Now, next to another team member.
Hello everyone, my name is Darian, and during the Brackeys Game Jam this year, I was tasked with creating the 3D models, the design of the map, and well, in general, the whole map for our game. And yeah, to start off, I want to say that I did not know how to model characters when we started. I had no knowledge of this, absolutely zero experience. So for me, to create a character from scratch, it was new information. I mainly did a lot of structures, a lot of environments, and a lot of objects, but never have I ever done characters. In the first day, I stuck to watching tutorials, but eventually, after a lot of failed prototypes, I have managed to come up with some kind of a design or aesthetic I liked based on the reference I found on the internet. Now, obviously, I did not remake the reference since, well, copyright. We have established very early on in the game's creation that the art style of the game will be kind of cartoonish, simple in textures, not really detailed, but also not too empty either. On day 2, I kind of managed to finalize the character. We had the first prototype out. Fortunately, I was able to also provide our programmer with this, so he can start learning a bit more about how to work in a 3D environment and with 3D characters. Also around day 2 is when I started to create textures for the character. I was using Substance Painter for most of the texturing process, and I eventually applied a oil paint filter, if I remember correctly, which made the character look more simplistic in its texture, while also adding a little bit of detail. Now in day 3, all that was left to do for our character was creating an armature and getting the animations that we will need. At the end of the day, I ended up using Mexamo other than creating my own armature, even though I have attempted to do my own armature first, and I have done it in the past. Issue was that I just didn't have enough time to start weight painting properly, so I figured Mexamo would do a better job than I could in a short time span. After that, what was left is getting a couple of animations and making sure everybody is fine with them. That was a pretty easy process, and I'm not gonna go in detail with it because 3 clicks on Mexamo do a lot of work for you. Around the night is where I started working on structures. Unfortunately, the first structure I've ever made for this game I do not have footage of, although thankfully I do have quite a lot of footage left over from day 4. To put it simply, making new buildings was not really an issue for me. I have done that in the past countless of times, and I had quite a quick phase to it, so this part of the creation process did not take me as much as, for example, the character creation has. I once again used Substance Painter in order to create the textures that are needed for the buildings, although I have also combined a little bit of Paint.net into the equation in order that I can more or less refine the textures wherever they are needed. In day 5, I was left with only finalizing the environment that I have worked on and off during this week, and then again finishing the last couple of buildings and their textures. You can find more of my progress on my Twitch channel, which I stream on every now and again, and the link will be probably in the description for that as well. Now for painting the environment, I just use procedural terrain painters, and for placing different environmental objects, I just use another form of procedural generation, which basically just placed the trees, the bushes and the grass where I needed them to be. On the 6th day, there wasn't really that much left to do, as in I only had to finish up the environment, pretty up the scene, take the lights, post-processing, and perhaps do some scale in light map action in Unity in order to optimize our game. That was very important for us. We wanted to aim for a very optimized game that is also enjoyable. If you cannot run the game, you cannot enjoy it. So that pretty much wraps up my experience with the Brackeys Game Jam, and at the end of it, I think I came out quite well. I learned how to make characters from scratch and finished all my tasks. But if there is something I would change if I could go back in time, is probably spending less time on that character. In fact, I figured that if I would have spent less time on the texture of the character, I would have come out a bit better. I later thought that if perhaps I would have just opted for simple plain color textures for the character, perhaps there would have been less time consumed in there and more time put into the buildings. This is not the end of the world, obviously, but this is something that I will have to look out for in the future whenever we take part in other game jams or whenever I decide to work on other projects.
So, it's Sunday and time to reveal theme. Nothing can go wrong. At first glance, we cool guys with different skills who can overcome all the problems. But everything went wrong. Let's start from the beginning. Hi, my name is Artyom and I am lead sound designer in our small team. But I don't like talking about myself too much, so let's move to Brackeys Game Jam. My first idea was some sci-fi type shit about AI that was constantly making life harder. However, I'm not that good at generating goofy ideas, that's why I appreciate that my teammates did most of the job in this stage of developing. And probably you will ask me like, Artyom, what did you even do? How did you help your teammates developing game? But don't rush, because I have a time lapse for you and the main menu music itself, an excerpt of which I will show you now. So, as you can understand, I am a lead music producer in our small but friendly and professional team. And first thing I need to highlight is the fact that it is my second time creating music and sounds for game. So don't judge me if you're a professional with a lot of experience, because it is harder than it looks to understand the genre and thematic of the game, which are mandatory for obtaining a successful result. And now that I finished presenting myself and the first part of the game that I was working on, let's move to the part where everything went wrong. By everything went wrong, I mean this. And yeah, ignore my comments.
Сука, ну какой пиздец, блядь, ну как это могло произойти? Нахуй. Блядь.
As you can see or hear, I was really upset with the error I got, which was one of the reasons we failed to upload our game. But you know what? This was actually cool and useful experience. Yeah, we failed, yeah, we had lack of communication, but without it, we can't grow. That's why I made conclusions, and in the future I will try not to repeat the mistakes of the past. Well, we're approaching the end of our story about participation in the Brackeys Game Jam, but this does not mean that we have given up. Next time we will return more experienced and determined to win. So, see ya in the next video. Goodbye.
So yeah, this was our adventure in the Brackeys Game Jam. As we said, we will finish the game, and you will see much more gameplay and development footage in the next video, as for now, you've seen all that's important. Expect the game to drop sometime next month, along with another video. Until next time, follow us on our socials, join the Discord server to have a better insight into the development process, and yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.